extra nickel in any firefighter's pocket. Not one. This is not about money for firefighters. This is about safety. The safety impact of removing this fifth firefighter. So if they want to call me that or tell me that I'm whining about it, good for them. But I'm whining for the citizens of the city of New York and for the safety of my firefighters. Whine away. Sorry, I think that's it on the speakers. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Bob.
Could you reprise for people who aren't as in-depthly aware of all this? How did we lose this? Like back in the day, and when was that day, that a fifth person on an engine was taken for granted?
Well, you're going back in history on this. I think it was through arbitration they took away the fifth firefighter, but then they brought it back because of the safety concerns. And then it's kind of been a political football back and forth, trying to punish the UFA or the city of New York through the UFA by taking away the fifth firefighter. Whenever there's budget cuts, they would remove, add, back and forth. We were at 60. We were at 140 at one point. Then we were down to 60. Then in the last administration, they took it away. And then through the negotiations of the UFA, we were able to bring back 20 engine companies because we believed that it was important enough for the firefighters' safety and the citizens' safety.
So it's linked now, so people understand, to the percentage of people that are out sick of your union. That's the thing that decides the level of coverage.
That's correct. And in that number, which is an agreed upon number, I'll admit that. But in that number is our World Trade Center sick. Firefighters that get burned or have fallen off of roofs, ladders, so forth, that are seriously hurt. Also, we have, the minor injuries, but we have a dangerous job. Every time we go out the door, there's a possibility that we get hurt, and it happens. We like I said, we have responded to over 619,000 runs in the year of 2018. Stuff happens. We get hurt.
I want to answer that. The burden should be on the administration to go out and find the firefighters who are over the limit, who are not really sick. Find me the people who are not suffering from cancer or who haven't gotten injured at a fire, who aren't breaking their wrists, who aren't banging themselves up. Because it's almost a myth that they want to perpetuate that this is a number that can easily be controlled when we have a lot of fires happening, especially over the winter, a lot of major fires happening recently. This is not something that Gerard or anyone in the department can just rub a magic lamp and put people back to work and repair injuries. So it's not fair, and it's more so not fair that we punish the public with creating a more dangerous public environment.
Sorry, I'll get to you next. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sure. So you said that this budget number has more than enough, to power to pay for the fifth man on all the companies. But under the PEG, you will have to reduce your budget. Are you worried about that? And what are some of the areas that you're wondering about cutting?
I'm really not worried about them cutting the budget. I think the budget should be expanded. Like I said, I think we need more fire companies. I think we need more five-man engines throughout the city. So as far as how that's going to go down, you would talk to the council members more than myself.
So this is affecting the current fiscal year, which was already budgeted. So it will have no impact on any projection this year. Secondly, with respect to fire operations, that part of the budget won't be seeing any PEG. So this is more of a punitive matter and enforcing a provision. Look, you have to look back. The UFA has gone over this magic number a few hairs over the past couple of years, and it's always been in the city's interest to not do this. Why they've decided to just put the line in the sand now and place people at jeopardy, that's a question for them. I mean, that again, go back to asking them, who are the people that they think are not out sick because of a valid injury or a valid instance? Find me the person who's taking their family to Disneyland.
Could you speak to the PEG, though, in terms of next year, the next budget?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's set in stone, but from everything I've seen on the fire suppression side, there's going to be no cuts, which is what this portion of the budget comes from.
Yes.
So there are currently 20 fire companies that have firefighters. Is it the same 20, or does it rotate? How is that determined?
It does not rotate. It could. They can change those companies, but they have never done that. The ones that have been named have stayed as those companies since they were named. Yes, they stay the same. Sorry.
And is that based on just population density for their coverage area?
It goes by how much the emergencies in those neighborhoods. The busier the neighborhood, The more fires, the more emergencies that they have is the reason why they have the fifth fire there. So even that alone speaks volumes on why they're needed. You know,
Is that sometimes reevaluated and they change which 20 are assigned the fifth person, or has it consistently been the same 20 since those 20 were brought out?
I don't know. The fire department operations, they went through this. They decide on which company would get the fifth firefighter that would give them the most bang to have that firefighter in that particular area, and I trust them in that instance. You know, they have a good grasp on what we need as far as operations are concerned. But on this one, holding this particular item of the contract and holding it against us is a bad idea, and that changes our operations.
And you also mentioned you were concerned about Hudson Yards not being adequately served. What fire companies currently serve that neighborhood? You said there were two. That
34 engine, one engine, and 24 truck, and that's it, right? 1 and 24. Those are the two closest. I drove my own car, no lights, no sirens. It took me over 11 minutes to get from 1 and 24, which is the firehouse that's near Madison Square Garden, to get to Hudson Yards, which ordinarily it's less than a half a mile. You know, it's 3 blocks west and then 3 blocks north. And because of traffic from Penn Station right there, and then you have the Holland Tunnel, the Lincoln Tunnel, you have, you know, just traffic in general. You cannot move. And even with lights and sirens, there was nowhere where those cars would have been able to go had I had those emergency lights or sirens.
so the one by Madison Square Garden, and what's the other one that's closest?
That's on what? It's on 38th Street.
I wanted, as a follow-up, you mentioned that there's been incidents of injury. To what degree could you make the case that actually keeping it to just 4 firefighters promotes a dangerous environment where you're actually driving up that injury rate and inability of people to show up for work, that very same policy?
Absolutely, and the fact that we have to go higher, we need those firefighters to stretch those lines, to get water to the 60th floor it's an operation to do that, and then to extend to stretch a hose line from the standpipe to the apartment, extinguish the fire. It's a whole big operation. The manpower is imperative. The firefighters are the most important tool that we have in the New York City Fire
As
Department.
a follow-up, it seems that forever this debate lives and dies on response time, and yet you're telling us that the number, the point of the realm is flawed. Is it one of your colleagues mentioned at the Hudson Yard press conference that in some cases it can take longer from the time you pull up to that street address to the time you actually put water on the fire? Could you speak to
Absolutely.
that?
There's no clock on vertical response. So they have the time of what it takes us to pull up in front of that address. But to get to the actual fire floor, nobody's timing that. And that should be the real time. How long does it take you to get water on the fire? That's the response. You know, you have a fire, how long does it take to put water on it? Not to how long it takes us to pull up in front of the address.
Is that telling Councilman that you could address through legislation or reforming the mayor's management criteria?
If you go back to through some of our greatest hits on the committee, this is a question that we've asked over and over again what the real response time is, especially with respect to Hudson Yards, because if you haven't noticed, the buildings are pretty friggin' big.
You can do it by an act of the council as legislation?
We don't want to go out and go beyond what is standard practice for response times when we measure them against other municipalities. But I think internally the department should be looking at that for how it affects the public and the person who's trapped in a building.
Yes, sir.
You acknowledge that this was agreed to, you all agreed to this as part of the contract negotiation. Why was that? Why did you agree to this provision if it's such a crucial kind of safety feature of the engine company?
Well, they would not have given it to us without keeping that number from 1996. So we thought it was important enough to take it as it was. We thought that we could convince them to take the World Trade Center sick off the number of our medical leave, and that would drive the number down, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But yet they haven't done that, and here we are.
So it's a matter of having 20 with strings attached or none.
Correct. Good way of putting it.
It's
Anybody
correct
else?
Also, during the winter, we do know that the unilaterally waive that
Yes.
if there's a considered emergency.
Absolutely. When the storms are coming, you know, they'll add the fifth man to every engine company throughout the city. They'll actually add units on top of that. So in their own practice, they know that it can help. You know, that it works. Why would you do that? You know, so and then now this is a busy time of year, and a lot of people might not think so. But right now, we're out here, it's cold. You're all in winter coats. It's April 1st. The landlords have turned the heat off. So a lot of people are trying to heat their apartments in different ways, which makes it dangerous by using, you know, garbage extension cords or space heaters that aren't lawful. So that puts us in business. We respond to more emergencies as a result. We had a bad CO incident just the other night. 10 people, I think, were pulled out. You know, these are the times, you know, the change of the season when the landlords don't put the heat on in the fall or early winter, or they turn them off early. You can imagine. The folks are cold. I'm cold. I'm standing out here, you know. Anybody else got a question? Thank you all very much for coming. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Very good. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay.
Guys, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.
All right, Brian. Talk to you later.